Hello, everybody. In the last few years, there's been a lot of discussions around which is the best city in India to attract startups, which is a city that's worth living. And there is also this growing number of new age working professionals in the city of Mumbai who swear by the city but also have views on what it takes to make Mumbai a world class city. We are here with a bunch of them. Let me introduce all of them and then we will pick their brains on what they think Mumbai lacks and how is it that we can make Mumbai a world class city. Starting with, we have Yashraj Akashi. He is the ambassador of TED and TEDx and also runs the Edge community for working age professionals in Mumbai. We have Ratna Mehta, who runs a VC firm, somebody who has very strong views on what Mumbai has and what it doesn't. We have we have Anantamani, who is actually very important here because he's a behavioral scientist who helps companies understand how people are choosing them over others. He also works with several brands. We also have Viram Shah. Viram Shah is somebody who has spent a lot of time abroad. He runs, actually his CV is very fascinating because he runs a fintech firm that helps Indians also invest in US stocks. So we will talk about that in a bit. We have Aniket Dev, who has been in Mumbai since 2008. He is an alumnus of IIT Bombay, works closely with students and also wants to build the Alibaba of India. And the most interesting guest here, we have Alessandro Giuliani, an Italian who has made Mumbai his home. He's a multifaceted personality. He's into scuba diving. He runs an MBA school and also is the founder of a brand. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. Ratna, I start with you. You are the female voice here, apart from me. So tell us, you've been to different cities in the world. Tell us, what is it that Mumbai has? What is it that it doesn't? How do we make this city a world-class city?
Thank you, Vasudha. I think for me, Mumbai, the charm of Mumbai comes from it being a melting pot, right? It is a city where the people have the spirit of saying never say die. I mean, whatever happens, whether it is festivals or whether it is some emergency events, I think people stand up on their feet next day and they're back to doing what they were doing. Also, I think Mumbai is a very, very safe city. They call it the New York of the East. And there is a lot of action that happens in the city. Having said that, from the point of view of businesses, from the point of view of startups, there are a lot of considerations, right? Infrastructure, something that you will hear everybody speak about, that a Mumbaikar spends 1/3 of the day on the road. So that's, of course, a pain point. Rentals are very high. The cost of living is very high. So for a lot of new businesses coming into the city, it becomes difficult. A lot of the businesses which are there, the professionals which are there, it's the financial capital, right? So if you are in finance, I mean, Mumbai is the place to be. A lot of the entrepreneurs are second, third generation entrepreneurs. So, they've built businesses over here. But it's the charm of Mumbai, the nostalgia, especially for somebody like me who's born and brought up over here. I mean, I'm totally in love with the city. I mean, even today, and especially when you're traveling at night, you see the Queen's Necklace, you see the skyline from the ceiling. I mean, I can fall in love with Mumbai every single day. But of course, there are quacks, and which are now getting fixed. As somebody was saying this morning, the pain that is there right now of construction, the metro, the coastal road. Once all of that is done, I think the next decade is going to see a much, much more beautiful Mumbai.
Okay, so that's very nicely said. So there are many positives about Mumbai, so that in some ways also drown out the negatives. And of course, this is a work in progress. Aniket, you are somebody who has been in Mumbai since 2008. You work very closely with the student community. You also run a startup of your own. Tell us, how has Mumbai changed since 2008? And also, you're not native to Mumbai. How does that? Does this city feel like home?
No, I think thanks, Vasudha, for the question, and thanks for having me as well. I think in terms of the city, 2008 is when I came, and I think that was a daunting moment for me because honestly, in Calcutta, where I actually hail from, actually very small town near Calcutta, we have this perception that Mumbai is a city for the rich, and it's a city where you have to really struggle to survive. And as Ratna was also speaking about the basic survival instincts that you need to be here. But I think when I came in and at that point of time, actually for the first time in my life, talk to students from different communities of the country, right, from the north to the south, from the west to the east. And I think that really changed my perspective. And then within the next 15, 16 years that I've been here, one thing I've understood is that the reason the city works so well at its core is because people respect all communities together. And it is very, very visible. And like, for example, if I today morning when I actually reached in a cab, the driver was very happy to talk about what is happening in his life. And that's really the like how Mumbai breathes and lives every day. And we all know what's happening in Dharavi, for example. Like the entire community is getting redeveloped there. You will really see people aspiring to be in this city and stay in the city for a long period of time. And in terms of what I see in the future as well, I think very much, again, what Ratna said, and I think a lot of us will agree, that the infrastructure change has started to pick up. It's happening really fast. In fact, one small point here, the IIT Bombay community is actually investing in a project where they are making the researchers within IIT Bombay work in tandem with business professionals outside, alumni or non-alumni as well. And that's very, very interesting. It's in fact called Project Titanium. Everyone should check it out. And our alumni are providing grants to make sure those projects actually take off from the ground. So really interesting things happening, and really hopeful for the future.
Veeram, a lot of people talk about Pune, Mumbai being transformed into New York, Boston belt, because there are many education institutions, like you were saying. You've lived in global cities, you've lived in other parts of the world. Tell us what does Mumbai actually lack in terms of global facilities?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, if you look at Mumbai 10 years ago and now, is a drastic difference. And I think that is what is now getting a lot of people to come back, including me. When I looked at Mumbai, when I left, it was very different. There wasn't the infrastructure that was available. In a city, what else do you want? You also want entertainment, right? And a lot of that now in the last 10 years, in terms of the restaurants in Mumbai, they are becoming world-class slowly. So I think that bit, the entertainment bit, having a lot of diversity in people is something also that is if you look in New York and Boston, the diversity of people is something that stands out. I think that in Mumbai now you're getting with the entertainment industry being here, financial services being here, small businesses being here, like Ratna was mentioning. So that is coming up. So all of those things still, I think our generation is somebody that is going to see this growth happening. So the next generation really is going to get the benefit of all this growth in Mumbai, is what I feel. But we are getting to see the entire change happening in the city.
Okay. Mr. Damani, as somebody who understands people's minds, tell me how the psyche of Mumbai has also changed. Are people thinking differently now? Or is it just very simple? Because I went to a traditional Maharashtrian restaurant yesterday. There are couples walking with, holding hands each other. There are also, those Maharashtrian bows sitting. So clearly it's a diverse city. How do marketers also sort of analyze the dilemma of this?
Yeah, I think Bombay is a city of dreams. You're building dreams, you're selling dreams. And that's been there forever, I think. And that's the progress of Bombay. And now that is materializing in infrastructure, again, in restaurants, in metros, in coastal roads, because movement is at the heart of any city, right? And that is something that once it gets unblocked, right, there'll be far more spark in the city. So that's what I feel. It's really improving. I kind of feel there's a pre-pandemic, post-pandemic difference in Bombay.
Tell us about that.
I feel there's an acceleration of wanting to do things. I think Bombay lacked execution. That was the biggest drawback. I think that I'm seeing a difference in execution. Lots of things coming up, whereas there's the metro, the infrastructure, entertainment.
So there is a sense of urgency and hurry, you're saying?
Yeah, urgency has actually been there in Bombay, but post-pandemic, I feel there's a marked difference in the last 2-3 years, because the pandemic was once in a 100-year event, right? And it's caused disruption in every aspect of our life, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's interpersonal. So there's a lot of good energy that I feel coming to Bombay.
From home for a lot of months. Did that also impact the way a Mumbaiker?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've become more lazy because of not wanting to get out, right? And access to video calls. That's good in a way as well, right? Because if you can do something from home, and not put more burden on the city, why not?
Absolutely. Lisandro, what does it take for a foreigner to come to India, make the city his home, also start a business here and do so many activities that you do right now?
Well, to be sincere, at the beginning it's very difficult for a foreigner because there are many very Indian things and very Indian behaviors that you have to capture, especially in the sector where I started. Education is totally different from abroad. So you really have to start living, understanding, get the facets, know how to get around, which is not easy. So at the beginning is very difficult. Mumbai is a very intense city, but if you pass across that first 1 year, then you fall in love with the city because of all the things that they've said. Then I think you become addicted to the energy of the city, which is an energy that I've seen only in the cities where I lived, in Milan in the 60s, 70s, Barcelona in the 80s. The same thing is here, but multiplied by 20. Infrastructure, suddenly you see things coming out, you stay away 2 months and the skyline changes. But more than that is really the energy that is around in the city and the possibility to do things, and people do things. You fail is not a problem. The typical startup mentality is across the city, and then once you get over those difficulties at the beginning, people are extremely welcoming and extremely friendly, especially for a foreigner. The first step is very easy because they are very open. Then the second step takes a little bit more, but I've been here 13 years, so now I think Bombay is really home, and people feel that I'm like a Mumbaiker.
And what is it about Mumbai that you like the most?
I would say the energy, definitely. The energy and the people. They really make you feel at home. It's easy. You can go out and dress how you want, and there's no looking down to people. So you feel at home, you feel at ease everywhere.
Okay, that's very nicely said. Yash Raj, tell us, you also run a community of new age working professionals. How difficult or challenging was to build something like that? Because there's a paucity of time in Mumbai that everyone discusses. And also, Mumbai is known for its very practical attitude towards life. Like, people don't have time for a lot of things. So how difficult was it to come up with something like this?
So thank you for having the Edge community out here. I'll tell you, Mumbai for me is not a city, it's a community of big ideas. There are two things, community and big ideas. Every place a Mumbaiker goes to, they try to build a community because they come from a community, right? I think that's what is big about, the big idea about Mumbai. I'm born in Nasik, brought up in Bombay, I've moved to Delhi, and I can tell you there is Mumbai that I take everywhere. Even when I'm in Delhi, I come back to my friends or the Edge community in Mumbai, and it's very easy to build it because people out here understand how to understand others and be equal. I think that's what we need to export out of Bombay, right? We need to take that feeling across India, and that is what I think the city stands for. It understands each other, it gives you space, it lets you grow, it helps you grow. It's not a race, even though I think there is a problem with work-life balance. But now that the infrastructure is improving, people are understanding that this city is stretching beyond just its boundary, right? So those over the next 10 years probably will change. But what I really don't want to change about Bombay is the community, right? The feeling that anyone who comes here feels it can be their home and they're welcomed, right? So I feel the same. Every month I come back and it doesn't feel like a strange city to you, right? And suddenly roads are better, infra's better. People are now at least able to buy property out of Bombay, right? They at least see Bombay is not just this part, they're going beyond and they're making it their home and they come back to the heart of the city. So there's this charm, and I feel every other city should learn from that community of big ideas that, accept. It's about us truly being who we are, accepting each other, being a part of a community and feeling equal. I think that's what Mumbai teaches me the most, and that's why it is what it is.
Very interesting. Ratna, when we talk about Mumbai being pitted against a lot of other cities in India specifically, Delhi has pollution, Gurgaon has other issues, Gurgaon also attracts startups. And when you talk about Bengaluru, it has connectivity, but there are these traffic jams that are never ending. How do you, in your mind, sort of justify the fact that you settle down for Mumbai?
That's a very easy one, right? You can't take Mumbai out of a Mumbaiker. But for somebody who is in finance, right, especially growth, private equity and all, and it's the epicenter, right? You have the entire banking community over here. You have the, a lot of intermediaries over here. You have a lot of funds over here, right? So where your ecosystem is, you can't be out of that.
Right.
Of course.
But the labor costs are high, standard of living is high. You're also an employer of people. When you employ people, I'm sure people would want more salaries in Mumbai. Is that a sense of concern?
So, it works both ways, right? While cost of living is high and salaries are high over here, if I am looking for finance professionals in Gurgaon, you will not find very high quality or volumes of that over there. If you're doing that in Mumbai, I mean, every capital markets, every brokerage, the entire NSE, BSE ecosystem is over here, so you find people easily. Now, talking about Bangalore, the startup community kind of, was born there, right? India's Silicon Valley. So if you're looking for techies, if you're looking for the entire IT ecosystem, it's in Bangalore. And therefore, you see a lot of startups prefer being there because some of the very early stage VCs are over there as well. Right? But when you're doing early growth, when you're doing more businesses which are old economy as well, or, the buyout kinds, they're all, pretty much you have to be in Mumbai. And you'll see most of the events. Now Bangalore has a lot of mixers and Bangalore has a lot of events, which is a culture over there. But if you see most of the important events, everything is in Mumbai.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. Aniket Deb, Mumbai and Maharashtra also saw a lot of political instability in the last 5 years. Then there was also COVID. Has that all impacted the life of an entrepreneur or somebody who's starting to, have a startup here, a business here?
So, Vasudha, I feel that we've all gone through a cycle here in terms of startup growth or a startup community as a whole. I think back then when really good companies from my alma mater, actually Ola for the matter of fact, got started, and within 2-3 years it did get moved to Bangalore, and we very recently saw Zepto also moving its headquarters. So I'm not saying that it's not happening. There are such use cases, but the number is going down a lot, and the reason being that people are now saying that, okay, if I'm actually sacrificing I'm actually paying a higher real estate cost, that's totally fine, because even in that case, I'm actually getting, that community feeling that Yash was talking about, or good financial professionals. And actually, if you look at, say, Bangalore or, Delhi per se, in Delhi, you have a lot of this political power. You have the entire lobby getting created there. The VC ecosystem, early stage startup ecosystem is in Mumbai, is in Bangalore, sorry. But in Mumbai, you have a best of all the worlds together. You have the entertainment capital, the stock market here, the finance ecosystem is here. And, adding to what Ratna said, it's not only about the early stage VC alone. The entire capital market as a whole gives you an idea of how finance or money flow works as a whole, right? So that's how I feel.
But there's a lot of, there's also criticism that Mumbai is heavily dependent on financial services, and industrial output has not really grown that much. Do you think that this was basically organic because, it's also a residential city now, it is huge. The fact that there's a lot of focus on financial services is actually good for the city. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think overall, so industry-wise, actually, I find a lot of industrial entrepreneurs here. So in my community, which is the traditional sort of Gujarati community, a lot of folks have sort of industrial businesses that they're running. The unfortunate thing about it is the travel time, that you have to set up factories outside Mumbai and then to go in and out, come back, it takes I have family members who take almost 3-4 hours every day to just go and come back. So I think that's one of the big disadvantages if you want to set up industries here. On the tech front, I think COVID helped because the work from home culture came. And again, that's a mitigant because if you run a factory, you have to go. But if you're working in a tech firm, you don't necessarily need to go to office all the time, right? So the travel time bit is the biggest challenge. And the other biggest one is the cost of living, which I think for industrial folks, it's still fine. But for engineers, that becomes for somebody who's new coming out of college, wanting a job. I think that cost of living really pinches you because, you might not have that much disposable income at that point in time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Alessandro, you talked about Mumbai being welcoming to outsiders. In several parts of the country, we've also seen that sometimes outsiders are not welcome. There's a trend of xenophobia that has also crept in some parts of the country. Do you think that Mumbai has kept its spirit of being inclusive alive all these years?
I think so. There have been moments where there were some problems around the country. I've never felt, everybody is so friendly and everybody is so helpful. If you need something, you have 10 people that offer to help you. So in Mumbai, I've never felt any kind of problem. And actually, I've always felt very at ease going around at night alone, walking everywhere. Again, if I needed something to reach out the community has been helping really a lot. What Yash Raj has done is quite unique.
Right. Mr. Damani, also tell us this political instability in the last 5 years, has it also really impacted the kind of development that you see around you, or it's business as usual? Because any party that comes to power, it's so led by corporator, builder politics that infrastructure projects keep going on, regardless of the matter who is really in power.
Yeah, I think those systems are very embedded. So to an extent it depends, right? But to an extent, systems rule, right? So systems can't be changed overnight. But yet, again, like I said, in the last few years, I'm seeing a lot of positive energy. I'm seeing a lot of growth, development. Again, irrespective of really who's in the government.
And young people, do you see a change in the way they think about Mumbai?
I really don't know what what generally young people think, right? But I can imagine if I was much younger, it'll be more difficult for me to get through life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the competition, because of standard of living, because of cost of living, right? So I would assume they're having a slightly tougher time.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that.
Than previous generations. Yeah, that's a great point. Social media is actually leading to more loneliness, not more connection. So that's a different topic altogether. Mental wealth and mental health is something that we kind of, I think, passed by a few years back, but now it's kind of become more challenging. Because of comparative pressure and social pressure.
Absolutely. Ratna was also telling me this thing about how there are these different parts of Mumbai also, and how do you, because I was also in Ramabai Ambedkar colony yesterday, so there is one Mumbai which is for really wealthy people. There's also one Mumbai which has more and more urban poor. How do working professionals, new age professionals who have a community like yours, also in some ways reach out to them, or in some ways understand that there are two cities here? How do you make sense of this inequality?
I think the inequality exists in India. Like, you will have an apartment where possibly you pay 10 to 15 crores and just next to it you will have a slum. So the inequality exists, but as most of us kind of said, the beauty of the city is in acceptance, right? And the ability for that, at every level. In fact, whether you're staying in a 15 crore apartment, which is a norm in Mumbai, or you're staying in a Mahada apartment, I think everybody has a space, or everybody has a place in Mumbai. I think that's the most important thing, right? And everybody finds their right kind of work as well.
So opportunities. It's also a city that gives you many more opportunities than other places. That's nicely said. Tell me also the importance of a community in something that he mentioned, people are lonelier now, especially in a city like Mumbai where people are running all the time. How does it help to actually know somebody who knows somebody else, so that you can come together and give some sense of assurance?
What I'm hearing actually is Mumbai is a 3-dimensional city with a 10-dimensional expectation. And a lot of that then catches up on the citizens, right? I have friends who live in towers of 67 floors. They don't know their neighbors anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's a trend across the country. Good thing about this is lots of other pockets of the city are growing. But how do you connect them? And that's why I come back to saying Mumbai is a community of big ideas. You go to Goa, a Mumbaiker will set a community, make sure they catch up every time. It is that feeling of trying to make a Mumbai in every place is what is really setting us apart. Coming back to community and why is it important? It's simple. You find like-minded people. Look at the noise that's around you. Right? Look at what's being fed to you every day on social media. You really want to look at someone like you and ask them, what is really our lives? Look at the amount of time you spend in front of the driving wheel and not really look at anyone outside, right? or on the phone and not look. So the community comes there where actually we feel people just disconnect. And more the noise increases, more and more the power and you know, the soft power of a community comes up.
Absolutely.
And most of us out here, right, are known because of the community. And I think we treat each other equal, much like what Bombay did. So the whole idea was that if we can take communities and the feeling
Along,
of community,
yes.
maybe another dimension comes across.
Yes. So Mumbai thrives on the spirit of community, and most importantly, while it's a city of money, opportunities, innovation, it's important to remember that Mumbai is for all. This is a set of new age working professionals, people who work closely with companies, people who have their own firms. But there's one thing that's common in all of them, and that is the fact that they call Mumbai their home and they want its future to be safe and they want the city to be globally number one.